The modern tech landscape has evolved into a complex, shifting matrix of highly specialized and isolated pathways. Navigating this correctly is a high-stakes financial decision, as top-tier product companies in India are now offering compensation packages that frequently exceed 35 lakh per annum. However, the barrier to these roles is no longer a general interview, but a grueling, highly specialized gauntlet designed to test specific technical depths. This creates a massive inefficiency, where professionals spend hundreds of hours grinding through preparation material that doesn't actually align with their target role. To find clarity, you have to look at the three distinct tracks that now define the industry: execution, architecture, and strategy. The traditional linear corporate ladder has effectively been replaced by these silos, meaning your career survival now depends on choosing the preparation path that matches your cognitive strengths. The execution track is the primary starting point for ambitious freshers and mid-level engineers looking to enter Tier 1 or Tier 2 product companies. The cost of entry is high, 3 to 6 months dedicated entirely to data structures and algorithms, usually involving at least 100 LeetCode problems. Beyond algorithms, you have to build a broad technical foundation that spans the entire front-end and back-end ecosystem. Because recruiters need proof of this breadth, most candidates rely on structured, verified learning programs to validate their technical competency. Successfully navigating this track leads to roles with a salary range between 8 and 20 lakh per annum. Once hired, your daily focus is the end-to-end building of features for standard web applications. The hidden trade-off is the sheer volume of rote algorithm memorization required to get through the door, logic you will rarely use once you actually start building the product. Senior technologists aiming for elite individual contributor roles move toward the architecture track. Preparation here shifts away from writing code and toward mastering non-functional requirements like fault tolerance. Fault tolerance is the ability of a system to continue operating without interruption even when one or more of its components fail. At this level, elite interviews focus on your ability to navigate the CAP theorem. The CAP theorem is a principle in distributed systems, stating that it is impossible to simultaneously provide more than 2 out of 3 guarantees: consistency, availability, and partition tolerance. These interviews are high-pressure sessions where you must map out complex systems and defend every design choice under intense scrutiny. The outcome is a senior or staff engineering role at a major tech company, often with some of the highest compensation packages in the industry. That the cost is the loss of direct execution. You will spend less time coding and more time anticipating hypothetical failures and debating risk mitigation. The strategy track is the pivot point for those who want to move from technical execution to defining the fundamental why behind a product. To enter this track, you have to trade deep technical study for market analysis, financial acumen, and high-level stakeholder management. This path eventually leads to 2 distinct types of leadership: the principal PM, who acts as a specialized domain expert, and the group PM, who manages other product managers. As you move into these executive tiers, your daily work is no longer about the product itself, but about the meetings, coaching sessions, and alignment calls required to keep the organization moving. At this level, your success depends entirely on your ability to lead cross-functional teams through persuasion and a shared vision. The ultimate trade-off of product management is that you are fully responsible for the product's success or failure, yet you have zero direct authority over the engineers who build it. Choosing the right path requires looking past the job title and identifying which specific type of pressure you are willing to sustain for months of preparation. If you are primarily driven by the act of building, focus on the execution path by mastering algorithms and full-stack development to enter the 8 to 15 lakh tier. If you prefer complex logical puzzles but want to avoid organizational politics, double down on technical mastery and system design to stay on the individual contributor track. And if you find yourself questioning the business value of the features you build, the pivot to product management is likely your best alignment, provided you are ready for constant stakeholder communication. High compensation is a standard across all 3 tracks. The real advantage comes from investing your preparation time into the specific challenges your brain is already optimized to solve.